Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and I want to do a couple characters here. We're going to look at Grand Arena solo characters that are capable of soloing teams in Grand Arena. I will talk a little bit about how you'd want to mod these characters, but more so the strategy, the teams that you'll be able to take out with these characters in GAC. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment down below. You guys know our goal of 5,000 subscribers, and I will explain why you want to get this channel 5,000 subscribers in a bit. So let's dive in here. Let's get right into our list. First character is Darth Malik. Darth Malik is one of these characters that you can really do some amazing things with in GAC, that he will solo a lot of teams. He can solo Padme. If you're going to use him as a solo character in GAC, you're going to want tenacity. You want that tenacity because healing immunity will destroy him, right? That as long as you can keep healing immunity off of him, he's amazing. So if you're going to use him as a solo in GAC, you want to mod him for tenacity. Otherwise, I just have him modded like a brick, because I use him under Darth Malgus. So one of the reasons that you could use Malik as a solo a lot of times in GAC is if you bring Darth Revan on offense, because Darth Revan doesn't always need Malik. Like, do you understand that, guys? You don't always need Malik with your Darth Revan. So if you can spare that, you can get two teams for the price of one, that you can go use Malik as a solo on some random team, and then use, Darth Revan to do other things. And he can take out some pretty, don't think he's not taking out some pretty decent teams. He's taken out some pretty decent teams with that solo ability there. So just, one of the other things to keep that in mind here, guys, he can solo teams. You just may want tenacity if there's anything like healing immunity, stuns, stuff like that. That'll definitely hurt him in the long run. Next character, you guys know he had to be on the list, our King. This is why you want this channel to hit 5,000 subscribers. If we hit 5,000, Wampa hits Relic 8. It is that easy, guys. As far as what teams he can beat, guys, remember, Wampa's king, right? Wampa, GAC king here. I've beat General Skywalker in 5v5 and 3v3 with him. I have beat Starkiller in 3v3. 5v5 is a little bit tougher to beat Starkiller, but I have done it. Sith Eternal, he can beat. General Grievous is easy. Banners, Mon Mothma teams. You may want to run tenacity on him at times, because if he does get stunned, that can be a big problem. Again, mine being Relic 5, I have opted for a little bit more health, but tenacity is the plan once he hits Relic 8. Other teams, Iden Versio, he'll eat her for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But you do want to be careful. Teams with tenacity down can really ruin Wampa's day. So Mara Jade and Starkiller can ruin his day, as well as Malik with the Force Drain and stuff. So you do want to be careful how you use your Wampa. And I'd also say that against Savage Press, you could potentially time out against the Savage team if your Wampa, if they're around the same relic level, you'll probably time out. If you have significantly more relic levels on your Wampa than their Savage, you may have a chance at getting through, but that's simply because you're going to need to ramp Wampa's damage like crazy to get that done. So again, guys, remember, Wampa is king. GAC, he just has completely revolutionized how good you can be in GAC for a lot of players. All right, Enfys Nest. So I say Phasma is food. What I really mean is that the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron, if you run it with just the garbage First Order team, like your leftovers, Enfys Nest will solo that. She is very capable of beating that team. Even with that Omicron, she will get through that team. They just won't be able to deal enough damage to take her out. Because whenever she takes damage, right? Whenever she's damaged by attack, she gains 30% critical chance and 40 bonus protection stacking. This bonus protection increases by 40% each time, and then whenever she loses, whenever she takes a turn, she loses all that. But she can gain, look, whenever an enemy loses a buff or debuff, she'll gain 2% critical damage and health steal stacking until the end of the encounter. So she can deal a ton of damage. She just kind of ramps her critical damage up over time, and that does make a huge difference. She can dispel defensive buffs, right? So defense, health, protection, evasion, and tenacity up, as well as taunt, stealth, foresight, healer, all that stuff. Look at all the things that she can dispel on her basic there. It's amazing. A really, really great character, and one that you can solo a good, fair bit of teams with. I've seen Mon Mothma teams get soloed by her at times. You could, at times, if you really ever modded well, you could beat a Padme team, but I would say that's a lot less likely. I run mine for high tenacity. I just don't want her getting dazed. If she gets dazed, you'll just time out. And that's that defeats the purpose of a solo, right? A solo is supposed to get you a win. So the one risk here with any of these characters is if you lose, you not only lost that character's solo potential, but now you've got to use a whole nother team. And that can be a problem for a lot of people. Like me, I'm very reliant on that Wampa solo to win GAC. So when that doesn't pan out, I am, really, really fighting with my hands tied. All right, SWGOH Press is next. He can take out Commander Luke Skywalker teams. I've seen it done. In 3v3, it's, he definitely can. In 5v5, I do believe he can as well. Just a little bit more difficult. You might need to throw it on auto. You're going to want more relic levels on him than I do if you want to get that done, I think. But otherwise, a really good character. The other thing, there's other teams he can solo as well. But that CLS one is really nice. I think that's the most popular. The difference between SWGOH Press and Wampa, in my opinion, and everybody loves asking, which one's better? They're different. You can't say one's better than the other because they're different. Wampa is a requirement. That if you want to get every single Galactic Legend in this game, you have to farm Wampa. SWGOH is needed for nothing. He's just a side character. Now, his Omicron is really, really good. In a vacuum, right? If we lived in a vacuum, and SWGOH is better because he has offensive and defensive viability, and you can use him inside of a squad, which Wampa you can't. But because Wampa's a requirement, I put them on the same playing field that you have to get Wampa. You don't have to build SWGOH Press. So you're going to put resources into a character that leads you to nothing, and then you have a good Omicron. Wampa, you have to get for Jedi Knight Luke, who gets you Jabba, gets you Jedi Knight Luke himself, and Jedi Master Luke. So you have to build Wampa, throw that Omicron on him, and it's well worth it. So that's why I rate them together. I want to mention it here. I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but got to keep preaching that for you guys. They are on the same ground. All right, OG Kylo here. The reason he's on this list is that Old Republic teams he will destroy because of all those damage over times that will ramp his damage up like crazy. Where is that at? I think it's in his unique here. So he has his Kylo takes this. Where's the one that Kylo takes damage? He'll gain offense. Has 50% chance. Where is it at? I swear there's something in here that talks about damage over times. Maybe it's just that one that he's gonna gain. Yeah, I think it's this that. Whenever he takes damage, he gains offense and then 50% for one turn. So if he has a bunch of damage over times, he takes all that damage, right? That's an instance of damage each one of those. So he can ramp his offense like crazy and just destroy somebody. I always forget how his kit actually works because I don't really see the Old Republic anymore, so I don't have to worry about it. But I've seen him destroy, your lower level Ewoks he will take out. There's a lot of teams that he can beat. The thing here, guys, with all these characters, gear level will play a role in what they can take out. That if you're trying to use a Gear 11 Kylo Ren to take out Relic Ewoks, you're not going to do it. But if you go up against a Gear 12 Ewok team, Kylo's going to just destroy them. And that's a really useful thing for a lot of players when they first get, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, you've got this OG Kylo. A really good way to use him is to slaughter some of those teams. Then you've got Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. Excuse me. Oh, man, just got a random shiver. That was weird. So Jedi Knight Luke is a great solo character. Again, when I say a couple of teams, you do have to be careful, right? Because the big thing with him is that he can't be stunned. So daze will be a problem for him. If he gets dazed, that's a problem. But because he can't get stunned and he can counterattack when he has Jedi's will, that opens up some possibility for him to be able to beat some teams. I've seen him beat First Order teams by himself. I've done that a few times. I'm not going to say a lot. I've done it a few times. It does take some... How do I say that? It takes a little bit of skill to do that, right? It does take some skill. It takes some knowledge of knowing how to use his abilities. But he is a character that you can use as a solo to good effect at times. And again, I'm picking out characters that in the early game you'll use as solos, because later on, I can tell you, I haven't used the Malik solo in forever, simply because I don't face teams nowadays that Wampa can solo or that I can afford to run Malik outside of a Malgus or Darth Revan team. Wampa I'm soloing all the time. Enfys Nest and SWGOH I've done a few times, but again, it's getting harder and harder now. They kind of have their set teams that they go into. But again, in that early, mid, and even like early, late game, you'll have a lot of uses for these characters. And then Darth Vader is the last one here, guys. The original, like, he was probably that first character, I would say, who, with the Merciless Massacre, with that coming into the game, he can just, Geonosians, he will destroy. I mean, low-level First Order teams he can take out. And by low level, like, not so much the gear, just like, Rebel teams, he destroys. Especially, too, I will say this, remember, you want to have all of his Zetas if you're going to try and destroy some of these teams. Like, you really need all of his Zetas if you want to do that, because you can't let him get turn meter reduced. You don't want those dots expiring, and you obviously need Merciless Massacre. That's just a few things, though, right? Those are the characters. You guys will notice I omitted all Galactic Legends from the list. The reason being that, yes, like, they can solo teams, right? Like, they solo teams, but it's not like that. They don't count so much as like a solo because they're a Galactic Legend. They should be soloing teams. And I'm not going to count situations where you can use General Skywalker to solo like a low-level team. Like, those don't necessarily matter, right? Like a Gear 8 team, I'm just going to take one Relic. Like, that's not what we're talking about here. I mean, Malik can take out a full Relic Padme team if he needs to. You do want tenacity for that. Wampa's taking out full Relic teams. I mean, these two both are taking out full Relic teams. Even like OG Kylo here, he will take out a fully Relic, Old Republic team. He can. I mean, it's definitely a little bit more challenging, but he can do it. I've seen him do it with Ewoks as well. Jedi Knight Luke, yes, full Relic teams he's taking out. And then obviously Darth Vader. Mine has killed full Relic Geonosians by himself. Again, with solos, you do want to be careful, guys. Understand, like with Darth Vader, if he doesn't go first in that battle, you could get screwed really quickly with like an ability block or something. So solos do depend on a few things, but I wanted to get together a list of characters that you can use to solo teams. Hopefully this video helps you figure out how to use them. As always, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below, guys. We want to hit 5,000 for our King Wampa. That's it, guys. I love all of you. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.